Welcome aboard, Captain.
This video is brought to you by Simple, the easy way to do online banking. Sign up today using the link in the description and receive $20 when you use your card for the very first time.
Simple is a delightfully human way to bank, budget, and save that helps you feel confident with your money and do more things that you love. We don't charge any fees. Instead, you get lots of more helpful things, like goals, which sets aside a little money every day for whatever you're saving for, big or small, automatically. Save to Spend considers your upcoming payments, pending transactions, and goals when calculating what you have available to spend. Everything about banking with Simple feels smarter and more modern. With over 50,000 free ATMs, photo check deposits, bill pay, a beautiful Simple Visa card, and exceptional security. If your card ever gets left behind, just block it from the app until it's back in your hands. All that and unbelievable customer service. No scripts, no phone menus. Just real people helping you. Come say hi at simple.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. Currently, as you can tell, it is 2:48 a.m. here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I just wanted to do a very quick recording before I went to bed tonight. These 12-hour days are absolutely killing me. But I'm having an awesome time down here, and I hope you guys are having an awesome time learning as well. So let's get right into this. Today we are going to be talking about saving our modified registration view. And as you can remember from last episode, we modified the register view and included the first name, last name, username fields in there as well. So we're going to be splitting up these two fields here. So the first thing that we need to do is go back into our Sublime text. As you can see, I still have my register open. We do not need this anymore, so we can go ahead and close that register. And we can minimize all of these here for the resources. Mainly what we're going to be using is the user model, the HTTP controllers, and the auth register controller. So we'll open up the register controller, and we are also going to minimize HTTP just so that we can actually view these four folders in a row. In the app folder, we are going to create a new folder called models. And in that, what we need to do is move our user model into our models folder. So let's go ahead and do that now. We'll cut this and we will paste it right into our user model or into our models folder. And then don't forget, we actually need to change the namespace of it into app/models here. We'll save that and then we'll get out of that because we don't need it right now. We'll come back to that in just a little bit. Now, the first thing that we also need to do is we need to go into our config file and we need to go into our auth.php. Now, this auth.php defines a few different things, such as the default guard and the default passwords that we're going to use. So we're going to change a few things in here. So as you can see, if we scroll down a little bit, we have two different guards. We have the API guard, which we're not going to be using for this tutorial, and then we are going to be using the web guard. And the provider for the web guard is going to be the user's provider. If you keep scrolling down a little bit further, you can actually see the providers here. And here's the user's provider. The driver is going to be Eloquent. We're going to use the Eloquent Laravel Eloquent for this as well. Now you can see the model is app/user class. Well, remember, we just changed that into our app/models user class, so we're going to need to save this. And we'll go ahead and do that. The resync passwords will stay the same. The provider is going to be user. The table is going to be password resets, and the expiration is still going to be 60 minutes. If you want to, if you're running a more secure application, you can go ahead and change this expiration date to 15. But we'll just leave it 60 at our default for now because there is no real reason that we need to change it. So we'll save this auth config.php. And what we have to do is also restart our server just for good measure because we want to make sure that that configuration is going to be captured by our PHP artisan serve command, just like changing the .env file. So as you can see, we are using the web guard, the web guard, and we are going to have the user's provider, right? And the providers, the users, is going to be the user class, right? You can also change the guard to, instead of web, you can change this to the user guard. Actually, I like that a little bit better because that defines really what we're doing, because we are going to have a admin guard later and we will have a user guard as well. So we want to make sure that we are using the correct one. The user guard will use the user's provider, and the default is going to be the user guard. So we can actually change that and then restart our server here. Right, and good. So that's all good to go. We'll save that. Go back to our auth, or I mean our register controller. Now our register controller is doing a few different things here. It is using the registers users trait, and this has a bunch of different stuff in it. Not a lot of stuff that we are going to use right now at this moment, particularly in time. And we are going to go back to our register controller here. So first thing, we want to make sure that the validator is validating the correct things. So let's go ahead and duplicate this line. And the first one is going to be first underscore name, and this is going to be last underscore name. And we all want the same exact things, right? So then we also want the username, right? So we'll duplicate this again, and I'm just hitting Command Shift D. I believe it's Control Shift D on Windows. So we'll check the username, and we want the required. We want it to be a string, and we also want to make it unique to the users table, correct? So we will type in unique and then users, which is going to be our table. Just exactly like the email, we want that to be unique as well, right? So we will save that, and we'll go down to create. And whenever we create a new user, we also want to have a first name, right? Whoops. We want to have first name and the last name, right? So let's go first name here, and then we'll go last name there. And this is going to be data first name because we're getting the data from the user instance after a valid registration, right? So this data is coming from, let's go down to, where is it? Let's see here. Let's try to find it. And let's scroll down. Still some more. There's a lot of them here. References. Nope, that's not it. There's a lot. Anyways, we're not going to go there because I don't have the time and I'm tired and I want to go to bed. All right, so we'll go ahead and just put email here, and we'll also put email there. You can think of this data as the request, or this is actually going to be username. So I'll change that username. Got it. All right. This, you can actually think about this this data array as the request, because this data array is going to be after the validation, and you always want to make sure that the validator and the user create is obviously creating with the fields the first name, last name, username, email, and password, right? So we want to hash the password here, right? So we take the data password that they entered and we want to make it into a hash, right? So we'll save that as well. And then what we will do is we will go back to our user model, right? So we need to make it fillable. So let's go ahead and change name to first name because we no longer have a name field. And then let's go ahead and make a last underscore name field, and then let's make a username field, right? So, because those are that's what's going to be fillable by the forms. And then we also want to hide the password and remember token. We don't want to pass these anytime that we are pulling in the user model, collection. So we want to make sure that those are being pulled out of the collections before we display it to the backend administrator or whoever is going to be using the API later on. So let's go ahead and save that. And obviously the first thing that we need to do really before we run any of this is we need to go into our database and migrations. Whenever we create the users table, we obviously need to add a couple of different fields here. So the first one's going to be first name. The second one is going to be last name. and the third one is going to be username, but this one is going to have a unique identifier on it as well. Obviously, the email verifiable at or verified at is going to be nullable. We'll deal with that a little bit later, but then we will run the PHP artisan migrate fresh, and that way it'll go ahead and drop all the tables and successfully refresh the whole entire database. So if we take a look at our SQL Pro and we'll refresh, go to our users, now we have a first name, last name, username, email, and so on, right? So now this form should work exactly how we want to. So let's go ahead and type in my name, and my username is going to be webdevhacks, and my email is just going to be my business email, and password 123123, password 123123, and we're going to click on register, see if we get any errors. All right, so illuminate validation validator validate unique does not exist. Okay, so let's take a look and see where we are getting this validator request all, call to function array, a controller action. We'll keep on going down. So routing, keep going down. Any code that I see here. All right. All right, so method illuminate validation validator validate unique does not exist. Okay, so let's check our register controller, because that seems as though something that we would do. Unique users, right? Because this is exactly what we want. We want the email and the username to have the same exact things, except for this is not going to have email. So we'll save that and refresh and see what's going on here. Cannot use empty array elements in array. Okay, so let's go back and try and fill it out again. Cannot use empty. All right, so the array data, that is going to be coming from, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. And we'll go to our, let's see here. So the data validator, let's take a look at the references and illuminate contracts validation validator. Okay, cool. So we'll take a look at that. Illuminate slash validator. Hold on, let's just copy this. It's so much easier to do. All right, so let's take a look at the validator, and this is going to be the validator. So it is obviously using a validator make. So where's the make? There is no make. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. And validates when resolved. Nope, that's not it. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to figure out what's going on, and then we'll get right back into this. All right, after a simple error search, right here in the first line, it says it comes from having two commas in a row with nothing between them inside the array. So I found the extra comma right here. Boom. So we'll save that. We'll go back, and now we should try and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We'll click on register. All right, so includes app user failed to open stream. So awesome. So this app user up here needs models. We'll save that. The login controller, we'll just check all these other controllers to make sure that none of them are using the user controller. Cool. So that's the only one that's not using the user controller. We'll go back yet again, and we'll use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll register. Boom. There we go. Awesome. So easily with a simple Google search, cannot use empty array elements in arrays. Obviously, I forgot that stupid semicolon right here at the end of username. You guys might have saw that before I even tried to figure it out and Google it. But yeah, so if we go back here, obviously we see we logged in. If we go back to our table, we see that WebDevHacks is the username, the email, the password's in there, and we are now successfully registered as a user. Now, obviously, we have an issue here where it's not displaying the username, so we're going to use a modifier or a mutator on the model, the user model. So what we're going to do is we're just going to define a public function, get full name attribute, and we are going to just say return this attributes and then first underscore name, and that we're just going to concatenate on a space here and then concatenate on this attributes last name. And then we are going to change in our resources views layouts, I believe it is in. Yes, it is. It's right here. It says auth user name, right? We are actually going to put full name, and we will save it, and we should go back, refresh, and wonderful. The full name is right there for us. Now, if we still wanted to do first name, we can still put first underscore name, so it can be just my first name or whatever, but I like to have that full name mutator on our model, so that way we can have a full name attribute here. So this is obviously going to be the user. The attribute that we're grabbing is the first name. We're concatenating on a space, and then we are grabbing the last name from the user model, and we are going to put that at the end. So I believe that is it. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video. As you can tell, it's been just a little while. 304. I was glad that I was able to go through this with you guys. Sorry about the little error. Like I said, it's been a long past couple of days, 12-hour days. It's been a little bit crazy. So I will try to return all of your replies and comments as soon as I possibly can. And obviously, if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to me on Twitter. Go ahead and reach out to me down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, all the things, and make sure that you are, obviously hitting that bell icon so that way you know when a new video is coming out. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you later.